Check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Folks, glad to have all of you here. We're at the YouTube studios here in New York City, and been waiting to have this conversation with Spike Lee. What's up, man?
What's up, baby?
Good seeing you.
How the Rockets doing?
Rockets doing well. Doing well. You know,
better than the Knicks, all right?
A whole bunch of folks doing better than the Knicks. Yeah, come on. First of all, we're going to talk about BlacKkKlansman, but as a basketball fan, you've been in purgatory for a long time.
True. As Jay-Z would say, facts.
But you got all brothers running the show now.
Yeah.
So, you got some hope?
Hope is eternal. When you're a Knicks fan.
I understand.
Thanks for having me. You know, this I love. You're doing your thing, baby. Appreciate it.
Well, the thing is, you know, it was very interesting. You know, I had a Sunday morning show on TV One for 4 years, a daily show for 4 years, had you on those shows, and when TV One ended the show, I said, folks were like, oh man, you know, but man, love to have you on CNN, MSNBC, and I said, no, I said, we're going to launch a digital show, which we're going to launch Roland Martin Unfiltered September 4th. And my whole deal was, I said, because in which you understand, we talked about this beforehand, we've got to own our narrative. We've got to tell our story, and we can't be in a position of asking somebody else, please, please.
Can't do it.
Right. And in fact, what's interesting is, so I put out this goal. I wanted 20,000 of our followers to contribute $50 each to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And the whole point of that is if we do that, that's $1 million that comes from the fans. And I've told folks, look, we also have to fund our freedom. It can't just be, well, go get some advertising. Like, yeah, but you're still beholden to if they don't. And you did a movie, which I contributed to, when you crowdfunded.
Yeah, Kickstarter.
Right. And that's just...
Appreciate it.
And in fact, you were crowdfunding before the name even existed.
In 1985, but She's Gonna Have It.
Tell folks about that, because I don't think people really understand that.
Well, we were doing crowdfunding before it was called crowdfunding. You know, I was writing letters, pen to paper, postcards, pen to postcards, calling people up to contribute, and She's Gonna Have It cost $175,000. And, you know, Nelson George, you know Nelson, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the original investors.
Wow.
He's still getting checks. 32 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sure glad I answered your letter.
Nah, I knew Nelson. He was like, but, you know, you're right. It's ownership. And that goes, whatever we want to do, whatever endeavor. And it's ironic, you know, when things were segregated, we had a business.
Yep.
We support our businesses.
Yep.
We support our people. And then it flipped. So here we are, 2018.
And when we also again talk about owning the narrative, what I explain to people all the time is that if being in this position, I'm deciding the topics, the guests. I'm deciding how much time we spend.
But you know what you call that? What I call that? You're the gatekeeper.
There you go.
And that's the problem, because people, you know, everybody's excited now, black cinema, this and black cinema that, but it's been I've understood, like, it's been cyclical, where this happens every 10 years.
Yep.
For us to be conscious, every 10 years, my phone's ring off the hook, so can you talk about the Black Renaissance?
Right.
10 years later. So Spike, I've been doing it 40 years. So, to get around that, we have to get in those key positions where we have a vote. Because you can do it on the inside and the outside. I think we need to come from both ways.
That's right.
Know? Martin, Malcolm, Du Bois, Booker T. It doesn't have to be one way to do it.
No.
It's the same goal.
I got no problem with brothers and sisters who have look, Van Jones has a bi-weekly show on CNN, Joanne Reed, Don Lemon, Charles
good.
Payne at Fox. That's fine.
All good.
But my deal is, we also got to have it over here where if it's Dick Gregory dies and we're gonna live stream his funeral. Nobody else was there doing it.
They wouldn't do it.
NAACP convention. I had my cameras. We're there. No other media is there. And my deal is, stuff was happening there that was important conversations. And again, and so folks, and I've been.
So you are a gatekeeper.
Yes. And
that's what we need.
My deal is, and we're bringing these stories. I ran into this sister from Cleveland. Her two sons. She has eczema. Her two sons were trying to figure out how to help their mom with eczema. They created their own soap company. I ran into them. We put them on, did an interview with them. I got an email, man, we've been getting orders from the interview. If we're not there, they don't get the kind of publicity. And I'm putting them on my social media platforms, 2 million people, that's black-owned business.
That's how it's got to be. My brother.
That's how we do it, baby. That's how we do it.
Did you go to Morehouse? Whoa. You sound like a Morehouse man.
Hold up. I went to Texas A&M, but we had maroon colors.
Aggie, right? The Aggies?
But we had maroon. But we had maroon, same maroon
white. Maroon and white.
Absolutely. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Now, a word from one of our Roland Martin Unfiltered partners. You've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. Write down this website, marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. I'm going to tell you why it matters. Legal marijuana has grown to become a $9 billion industry in roughly 6 years. Forbes magazine predicts the market will continue to grow to nearly $50 billion in the next 10 years. So whether you like it or not, legal marijuana is a growing industry, and it is only going to get bigger. Now, if you're an investor, you get it. You look for business models that are easy to understand in industries that are trending up. Our friends at Transatlantic Real Estate made their business very simple. They buy land that supports legal marijuana operations and lease it to high-paying tenants. So you are investing in the landlord of a licensed marijuana farm. Stop working so hard for your money. Let your money start working for you by investing in the legal cannabis industry. You can invest as little as $300 up to $10,000. But you can't wait. This crowdfunding opportunity is only available for a few more days. They say that you either make things happen, watch things happen, or sit around wondering what happened. Don't be the person watching and wondering. Don't let another investment boom get away from you. It's time to make something happen for you, your finances, and your family. And don't forget my pro tip. To be included, you must complete and confirm your application. And be sure to complete the process. Go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game, folks. Do it now before time runs out. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. talk about this movie, BlacKkKlansman. When did you first hear about this story?
When Jordan Peele called me up. I never heard of Ron Stallworth, never heard of the story, didn't know of the book, to read the book. And Jordan, called me up and he gave me a 6-word pitch. High concept. Hollywood. Black man infiltrates KKK. That was it.
You like, sold?
Nah, first I said, is this true? Then after that, I automatically thought of the David Chappelle skit.
Right, right.
But he said, Spike, is true. And I said, I'm interested, and here we are today. And very, very happy. We've been blessed with the reception to this film, and been blessed.
I mean, it is a hell of a concept. I mean,
right. High concept.
When you hear it, you probably thought, that's fictitious.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it actually happened. Then you got the whole David Duke part and all that. I mean, it's real.
Strange but true. and it's still, I still shake my head that this thing actually happened. And I met Ron Stallworth, and so beautiful brother. And what's hip about this film, I feel, is that even though it takes place in the 70s, it's still very contemporary.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was the key, because I didn't want people to think, especially the young audience, like, oh, this is going to be a history lesson. I don't want to see that old shit. But we had to freak it a little bit, for to show that this stuff is not new.
Right.
It might be dressed another thing, and it's slicker, but it's the same stuff.
Well, it was interesting watching the film, and I had my 3 of my nieces with me.
Mm-hmm. What are their ages?
And they are 21 and twins are 14, starting their freshman year in high school.
Uh-huh.
And so we're watching the film, and in it, they're talking about COINTELPRO and shutting down the Black Panthers. And just today, I posted a story that came from, I think, The Guardian, of these 8 Black Panthers who are still in prison 46 years later. And the story is, will they ever be free?
What were the charges?
Just multiple, some of them murder, some of them other charges, and a lot of these cats were in solitary confinement 10, 20, 25 years. I mean, America is still scared to death of Black power.
Yeah.
Freedom. And black folks who will actually pick a gun up. I mean, because they changed the gun laws in California.
They had to.
The Panthers read we can carry long rifles. As long as they point it in the air,
right,
they were like,
UEP Newton.
Oh no, we got to change the law. These Negroes, and they figure out how to use our laws to benefit them.
Yeah, I mean, we have a line in the film where police officer, the chief, says that he agrees with J. Edgar Hoover, the biggest threat to the security of the United States of America, Black Panthers.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
So, at what point did you say Charlottesville?
That happened before. In fact, it was 2 days ago, a year ago, August 12th, Sunday, 3 days ago. And I was at Martha's Vineyard, and I was watching CNN, and I just cannot believe that I just witnessed American homegrown apple pie, blueberry pie, cherry pie, homegrown American terrorism.
White domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorism. That's what it was, no matter what anybody says, that's domestic terrorism. So, David Duke, Agent Orange, I don't say his name, the neo-Nazis, alt-right, and the Klan, they gave me the ending for the film. That's.
So when that happened,
we didn't start shooting until September.
So this literally happened
August 12th, 3 days ago.
A month before you started shooting.
Yes, but I knew I wanted that ending, but I still wanted to get Miss Susan Bro's blessing. She's a mother of Heather Heyer, who was murdered, and she.
And you reached out to her.
Reached out to her.
What did she say?
Well, you know what she told me? She said, Spike, I'm very happy to give you the permission, but she said, I'm getting a lot of flack from black people, like saying, why is your daughter getting all this publicity when black people getting killed all the time? And I really said, you know what, don't listen to that, Miss Bro, because that's insane.
There's also black people who don't understand history.
I mean,
James Reed was beaten to death.
I know. What's the lady's name from
Viola
Detroit?
Liuzzo.
Yes. So
head blown off. Dr. King gives a speech on the steps of the Capitol in Montgomery. She's driving one of the workers back to Selma. 3 Klansmen pull up in the truck, blow her head off.
We go to John Brown. So that's just an ignorant statement. I try to tell her that, please, not all black people think like that. Your daughter is loved. Your daughter is a martyr, and so please just get the. I mean, don't listen to that. That's craziness.
And it felt. First of all, I can tell you, as somebody who appreciates film, I mean, watching this, I'm not feeling 1970s. Sure, I'm looking at clothes, I'm looking at hairstyles.
The afro? Did you have a fro?
Oh, I had a fro.
Like this?
Oh, like that.
Yeah, the Michael Jackson or Jermaine
mine
Jackson.
was real curly. I had a really soft one, too. And I had to put nothing in mine. So I had that natural.
No, you had to put no afro sheet in it?
No, my stuff.
Beautiful people.
Oh, I had that
use
natural.
afro
I'm talking about
sheet.
I had a good one. I had a good one too. I had a bigger one. Yeah, mine was way bigger than my brother. My brother was more like
John David.
John David in the film.
Right.
Yeah, mine was way more curly. Way more curly.
What's my man's name from the Ohio Players? His was to the side.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
My dad.
What's that guy's name though?
Sugarfoot?
Yes, Sugarfoot. His afro leaned to the side.
Daddy wouldn't allow that. That was limitations to the afro. Daddy was like, no, you got a regular, ordinary fro.
Sugarfoot.
Sugarfoot passed away a couple years ago.
He did?
Yeah, dog. But performed up till the end. I saw he was on the Tom Joyner cruise at family reunion.
Yeah.
Out there with a cane, getting it in. Get it in. When I'm watching it, you talk about that contemporary. And so even though I'm looking at the clothes and the hairstyle, I mean, it absolutely felt 2018.
Yeah.
Even at the end when you see the video, and even with that, so the video at the end, were there any recreations or did that come from Vice?
Some came from Vice. Although we just put ads in the paper in New Charlottesville, so everybody can be a reporter now.
Right.
So people just send us stills and video. But in large part it was Vice, but there's a whole bunch of people contributed to the coda of the film, The End.
I said, and you said it, white domestic terrorists. And it's amazing how in this country you can watch CNN,
Timothy McVeigh and all this.
MSNBC, you can watch all these networks, and if a Muslim does, if an American Muslim did something, Muslim shoots 5 people. Or upset man. No. White domestic terrorists shot 5 people. And we've had in the past year, they tried to blow up a mosque in the Midwest. You've had all these different incidents, and in this nation, they just won't call it what it is.
It's not new though. They call us 3/5 of a person. That's in the Constitution of the United States of America. 3/5. So it's the same old, it's the okie doke. And people like you are in position to try to say that's BS, because we got to call what it is. Truth to power. Truth to power. You know and I know and they know this country was the foundation of this country is the genocide of Native people and slavery. That's the beginning.
Dinesh D'Souza has this movie out called Death of a Nation. He has a book out as well, so I'm going to interview him next month for the launch of our show. And so his whole premise is that Democrats are the party of racists, and I mean, going on and on and on. My whole deal is, Dude, that's America. The Whig Party, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. But the operative phrase is white people. This nation, folks benefited from it. So whether you want to sit here and try to play this game of one party over the other, that's the reality for 245 years. Then you go through Reconstruction, then you go 19 years of Jim Crow. I'm like, don't act like one side was just pious and perfect.
Not at all. Not at all. But here we are today, though, with this guy in the White House.
And speaking of that, you didn't run away from that as well. He makes an appearance because, again, you are weaving these elements in and trying to get people to understand that don't think that this is America's past. It's America's present. And I keep trying to tell people that what's driving all of this today is 2043. When we will become a nation, that's majority of people of color. That's anxiety.
I'm glad you brought that because a lot of people slept on that. When the United States Census Bureau said by the year 2030, 2035, whatever that.
Well, initially when they did it, it was like 2060.
Right.
People went, oh, this is about 30 years ago. People were like, man, I'm gonna
It's
be
like
dead.
that in California already now.
They went, I'm gonna be dead. Then something happened. Latinos kept having babies. Black people kept having babies. White folks stopped having kids. That thing went 2053, then 2050. I remember 2047, 2045, and it kept going down. Now we're seeing in several states the annual white death rate is higher than the annual white birth rate. And so every time I see one of these white anxiety stories, I said, y'all, you got to be deeper than mustard on a hot dog. This is what's driving it. They are scared to death when they say we're losing our culture. No, you're losing your power. You are going to have to share power, share money, share resources, and that's what's driving all this anxiety.
I agree. I mean, this is we're getting to nitty gritty, and as you said, I would like to co-sign it, piggyback. Agent Orange in the White House was also a reaction to 8 years of Obama.
In the history of America, black success has always been followed by white backlash.
Resurrection, you know, Reconstruction. So, and that's something that I just wish that, as a whole, not just black folks, but just people, we got to pay attention to history. I mean, so often, if it happened before I was born, that's almost like suicide. If you don't know what happened. I mean, everything should happen before you were born.
Right. Well, but you look at Virginia. You look at
the Cathedral Confederacy.
Terry McAuliffe
Charleston
extends the voting rights to formerly incarcerated. In Virginia, the reason ex-felons could not vote is because in 1902, a state legislator said this is to keep the darkies from voting. So you had all of these governors who were defending a law, but the basis of it was from 1902. So when people go, oh, that's the past, I'm like, no. There are laws that are still informing us today based upon somebody who was a bigot or racist then.
And you had amendments to turn around that stuff too. And now this guy is trying to take away amendments. So it's we live in a crazy world. It's insane. And that's why I think this film, people respond to this film as well they are, because it kind of like captures, you know, the tone, the mood, the illness, the sickness that we live in. Because we're sick. A country that would separate families, separate parents from their children,
And take pride.
and take pride in that, and put them in cages. Who does that? You can't claim to be the cradle of democracy and do some stuff like that. You can't do it.
I was on the train coming to New York, and I said, has Spike ever done a comedy? And I started thinking about, I said, and there have been comedic elements in a lot of your movies.
Right, right.
Is it your position that, look, there are people who make feel-good films. There are people who make romantic comedies. But do you see it as your mission? I need people to think.
But I think that you could do that in any genre. I mean, for example, Inside Man with Denzel. I mean, it's a heist movie, but there we talk about integrations. You know, we slip stuff in there. But I would not say, though, people have said this, been written about that BlacKkKlansman is a comedy, a buddy cop thing. I don't like, for me, I wouldn't use that word comedy. I would like.
No, I wouldn't use that.
Humor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, humor. So I think it's I've done before. Do the Right Thing is a very serious film. Also, you know, has a lot of humor in it. So it's hard to do. We just have to get the right balance.
But what I'm saying is, but for you,
Right.
you are deliberate.
Not every film. Not every film. I mean, the film, the autobiographical film about my family, Crooklyn. You know, that's just really just a small story about a young girl growing up in a household full of brothers, you know, parents. So it depends. It really depends on the film.
How crucial is it for us
Very crucial.
to be able to see ourselves in a 360-degree way, and not just one way?
Well, you'll be telling the truth because, as you know, we are not one monolithic group. We don't think alike, look alike, talk alike. We're just as diverse as anybody else. And I think we get in problems. Problems arise when we get this. People think that we have to be, or we think that we have to be a monolithic group. Not everybody has it. All black folks don't agree. All black people don't like my films, so you just can't, you know, there's not one monolithic group, and we have to come to, I think, in better terms understanding that. And even though some people might, you know, say some crazy stuff, that doesn't mean they ain't black. You know, that's just their. I'm not trying to make a defensive.
No, I got you.
But that's just the. It's hard to sometimes just say there's just one specific single black voice.
So I got to ask you. So 2 weeks ago,
Right.
you were in Detroit for the National Association of Black Journalists Convention.
Right.
You were there with the film that Saturday. That Thursday, Tyler Perry gave a masterclass, and he brought you up, and he said, you know, he said when Tyler said I was cooning, excuse me, when Spike said I was cooning, he said I got all this criticism, and he said that people said, well, your shows are simple, and he said, well, that was a strategy behind it. And he said, look, Spike's from Brooklyn, sophistication. He sort of compared Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes in terms of people like, well, Zora, why are you using that language? She's like, well, that's the language that I know.
But you know what, though? I would, you know, me and Tara, I love Tyler, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily true because even though people try to say I was born in Atlanta. I went to Morehouse. So it's not like I spent my summers down south. If you live in New York, Boston, Philly, and your parents had grandparents down south, they shipped your black ass down south. So my summers growing up in Brooklyn, New York, my summers were spent in Snowville, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. So like I was like I'm some alien to the south. That's not true. But I would like to say this though. I called Tyler up, and I said, Tyler, I never talked about this before. I said, let me come down to Atlanta. And so I flew down to Atlanta, spent the day at his house, his mansion. Incredible. And we just talked. And it was just me and him, nobody else. We talked for like 3-4 hours. Yeah. And we just came to understand, like, no, we said, like, we can't do this anymore. And we've been chill ever since. You know, it got to that point, and I called him up. You know, he said, "You want to fly down?" I said, "Yeah." You know, we've been cool ever since. Cool ever since.
Are you proud of what he's done? Building that studio.
Oh yeah.
All different.
The man used the word. He had a strategy. He had a strategy. He's a mogul. Got Now I got all those studios that people are renting and stuff. So I got nothing for love my brother Tyler Perry.
In that masterclass, and it was interesting when he talked about what we talked about in the opening, where he said, never leave your culture. There are a lot of people, and when I introduced him, I said, let me be clear, y'all, black people made him rich. A lot of times, you have African Americans who really want white validation.